Welcome to Le Podcast de Philippe. Today, we're going to take a deep dive into Project 2025.
Okay.
It's, this conservative blueprint for how they want to reshape the U.S. federal government.
Right.
We've got some pretty fascinating sources we'll be looking at today.
Yeah.
A big 900-page document from the Heritage Foundation.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're also going to explore this whole connection to Elon Musk now that Trump is back in the White House.
It's a very interesting situation for sure.
So let's start with the basics. What is Project 2025?
Well, at its core, Project 2025 is really all about shrinking the size and scope of the federal government. Okay. It lays out a vision for a much smaller, more centralized government.
Right.
And a big part of that is shifting power away from career civil servants, the people who've been working in government for years. And instead, they want to empower political appointees.
Political appointees who align with their values.
Exactly. Conservative and Christian nationalist values. So, for example, instead of just broadly saying they want to cut education spending, Project 2025 specifically calls for eliminating the Department of Education entirely.
Wow.
And replacing it with block grants to states.
That's a huge change.
Yeah, it gives you a sense of just how far-reaching this plan is.
So this wasn't just some, theoretical document someone cooked up.
No, not at all.
It was actually designed to be put into action.
Right.
If Trump won the 2024 election.
Which, as our sources confirm, he did.
So one of the first things Trump did when he took office back in January was create this new department, D.O.G.E.
The Department of Government Efficiency.
D.O.G.E. Yeah. Interesting name.
It sounds like it's all about, making the government run better and more efficiently.
Yeah. On the surface, it seems pretty straightforward. Modernizing technology, streamlining bureaucracy.
But when you look a little closer,
things get more complicated.
The goals of D.O.G.E. seem to align pretty perfectly with Project 2025. Yeah, it's all about that smaller, more centralized government we talked about.
And then to make things even more interesting, Trump appoints Elon Musk to lead D.O.G.E.
Right, and that's where things get really intriguing.
Yeah, there's a lot of debate about how much power Musk actually has.
Mm-hmm.
Some reports say he's more of a senior advisor. Others say he's got a lot of influence behind the scenes.
It's hard to say for sure, but what we do know is that Musk has already made some pretty significant moves.
Yeah.
Well, he's publicly called for the complete shutdown of USAID, the U.S. Agency for International Development.
Oh, wow.
A major foreign aid organization with projects all over the world.
And that wasn't specifically mentioned in Project 2025?
No, it wasn't.
So is this Musk just kind of taking initiative?
Maybe.
Or is it a sign of a deeper connection to the plan's agenda?
It's a question worth exploring.
Definitely. We'll delve into that more as we continue our deep dive.
So this whole thing with Musk calling for the dismantling of USAID, it's particularly interesting because it kind of touches on one of the core ideas behind Project 2025,
which is
Christian nationalism.
Okay, so to understand why this is such a big deal, we need to clarify what Christian nationalism actually is.
Exactly.
What does that term even mean?
In a nutshell, it's the belief that America is fundamentally a Christian nation and that the government should be actively promoting Christian values.
Okay.
So for some of these folks who subscribe to Christian nationalism, they think that means cutting back on foreign aid or even eliminating it altogether.
That's interesting.
The idea is that, resources should be focused on America.
Right, strengthening the nation at home.
Exactly.
Instead of helping other countries.
So Musk's call to shut down U.S. aid, it really aligns with that worldview.
Even though it wasn't explicitly spelled out in Project 2025, which suggests that maybe Musk is operating with some level of autonomy here.
It's possible.
He's taking these broader goals of the plan and kind of interpreting them through his own lens.
Yeah, and that raises some concerns about accountability.
Oh, how so?
Well, I mean, if you've got powerful people like Musk, basically improvising policy decisions based on their own understanding of this kind of loosely defined plan, what's to stop them from overreaching?
Or abusing their power.
Exactly.
And it's not just that Musk's involvement with D.O.G.E. also raises questions about potential conflicts of interest.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, he's the CEO of multiple companies.
Right. Tesla, SpaceX.
That have dealings with the government.
So some critics are worried that his position within D.O.G.E. gives him access to sensitive information.
Right.
And potentially, undue influence over government contracts and regulations.
That could benefit his own businesses.
Exactly.
So we're seeing this really complex interplay here.
Yeah.
Between ideology, personal ambition, and corporate interests.
It's a recipe for, well, it's creating a lot of uncertainty, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, there are protests happening all over the country.
People are worried.
People are worried about where things are headed, and they're demanding transparency.
Transparency is crucial, especially in a democracy.
And that seems to be what's lacking here.
Yeah, it feels like we're seeing these major policy shifts happening with very little public debate or scrutiny.
It's like a behind-the-scenes power play.
And the American people are left wondering,
who's really calling the shots?
Yeah.
It feels like we're at this point now where, all the traditional rules of how government works are being challenged.
Yeah.
And the lines between public service and private enterprise are getting really blurry.
Absolutely. I mean, this whole situation with Musk, it's not just a story about politics, right?
Right.
It's really about the growing influence of technology and the people who control it.
You have someone like Elon Musk. I mean, he made his name disrupting entire industries.
Yeah.
And now he's stepping into the world government.
And he's bringing that same disruptive energy with him,
But the question is,
right,
can that approach actually work?
In a system that's built on checks and balances.
Yeah.
Deliberation, compromise.
It's uncharted territory.
Yeah, and that's what makes this whole thing so fascinating.
On the one hand, you can see the potential for positive change.
Right.
If it's done right.
Yeah.
Maybe using technology in this kind of entrepreneurial thinking could actually lead to a more efficient and effective government.
It's possible.
But on the other hand,
there's a real danger here.
Yeah, this could really erode democratic norms.
And concentrate power in the hands of a few.
Especially when you consider the ideology behind Project 2025.
Which is ultimately about fundamentally reshaping the role of government.
So this is where the listener has to kind of stop and think.
Yeah.
What kind of future do we actually want?
Do we want a future where, decisions are made quickly, decisively, even if it means bypassing those traditional processes?
Right.
Or do we want a system that's more focused on transparency?
Right.
Accountability.
Making sure everyone's voice is heard.
Those are the big questions we're all facing right now.
And this isn't just some abstract debate,
No.
This has real-world consequences for all of us.
The policies being enacted today, I mean, they're going to shape the future of education,
healthcare,
the environment, so much more.
So we have to stay informed.
Yeah.
Engage in these conversations.
Right.
And hold our leaders accountable.
No matter who they are or what their political beliefs are.
So today, our deep dive into Project 2025 and Elon Musk's role in the Trump administration
has hopefully given you a better understanding of this complex situation.
It's evolving. It's changing all the time.
Yeah.
But now it's up to you to connect the dots.
Think
and decide what it all means for the future of America.
The story's not over.
We'll be watching closely.
And thank you for joining us on the Podcast de Philippe.